All right, fellas, what's going on? Denonu here, the man with the biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube. And in this video here, we're going to be talking about the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite teaser. Really the first video trailer that we've gotten for, I'm guessing this is going to be Marvel vs. Capcom 4. And they didn't really show a whole lot. I mean, they were debuting, you know, a few characters and things like that. Just showed like Ryu and Mega Man fighting against Iron Man and Captain Marvel. And I don't know if it's going to be a game mechanic, but they showed what looks like to be like infinity gems that, you know, because Ryu, they were like fighting over one of them and Ryu broke one in his hand and powered up and everything. And then you seen Captain Marvel power up, but I don't know if that was because of a gem or if that was her powers, because I know, you know, she had that phase in Marvel comic books where she was binary, so that could be a thing. But she did kind of glow green and everything and seemed like her speed went up. So are they bringing back the older mechanic from, I think it was the Marvel versus Street Fighter Infinity Marvel superheroes thing? Because I know they've done that before in one of the arcade games where you had gem pickups that would pop up during the match and you would pick one up and pop one and then gain an ability, whether it be super speed or health or things like that. They've done that mechanic before. I don't know if this is Capcom bringing that into, you know, the Marvel vs. Capcom universe. Because if that is, that's kind of redundant because you're bringing back the same thing that you have already done, you know? It's kind of, I mean, I know Capcom is in a pretty bad way right now when it comes to a lot of their games, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to start rehashing fighting game ideas. But glad to hear it. I will say that, you know, it's glad to see that something is, you know, is still going on with Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm not a huge fighting game fan myself, even though I've been playing them all my life. But I'm not into the fighting game scene like some channels or some people are. And I know a lot of people didn't really like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I know 1 and 2 were a hell of a lot better. And but I know they didn't really like the last one all that much. So I don't know, you know, why or any particular reasons, but I know a lot of people weren't feeling it. So maybe Capcom is trying to change things up with Infinite. Or maybe Infinite is like a separate kind of game. I mean, maybe it's some other kind of fighting game that's not going to be Marvel vs. Capcom, you know, in the same vein. It could be something else entirely. But I mean, it looks like it's going to be a fighting game. It looks like you have, I think they showed the main villain at the end of the trailer, and for the life of me, I could not recognize this guy. It looks like, and I could be wrong, but it looks like Ultron's head on like somebody else's body. And the body to me looks familiar, but I can't really place it. So I don't know exactly why, but something about a previous game, you know, it reminds me of. I just can't think of the game or can't remember what it's actually triggering in my memory, but it's something familiar. And that looks like Ultron's head, you know, by the little head fins along the side of his head and everything like that. So I'm thinking that's Ultron merged with somebody else. Normally in the other games, it was either like a Marvel bad guy, like Galactus, I think was a bad guy one game. Then it was, oh, matter of fact, I think the last game was Galactus, and I think one of the games before that, it was part 1, it was like Onslaught. I think Thanos maybe was in one of the games too. So they kind of pick Marvel bad guys to be the end villains because I guess Street Fighter doesn't really have anything besides Bison and Shadaloo, which don't get me wrong, they're not the most biggest threats in the Street Fighter universe because you've been fighting them for like the past 30 years. So that's not a big enough threat. So I'm guessing that's why they pull from Marvel. But one thing that worries me is there are no X-Men or any X-Men associated characters in this teaser trailer here. And for those of you who don't know, in Marvel comic books, Marvel created the X-Men. They created Deadpool and all the other X-Men characters that you see in the Marvel vs. Capcom game. And according to the movies, Marvel sold those movie rights to Fox. That's why Fox has been making X-Men movies for like the past 10 years. And, well, 15, 16 years now. But in the comic books, Marvel has been trying to phase out X-Men in place of the Inhumans. And a lot of people, speculate that it's because they don't own the movie rights, so they can't tie it into none of their movies or anything like that. And they consider it, even though they're the characters, they consider it free advertisement for Fox and everything. So they've been killing off the X-Men, killing off any kind of mutant associated characters besides like a handful of people. Like probably some of the core X-Men are going to remain, Deadpool, Magneto, things like that, right? But the catch is, since they're phasing them out, and since Marvel owns the character rights outside of the movies, they may be doing that to this game too. Because you had them debuting Captain Marvel. I'm assuming they're debuting Captain Marvel because, she has an upcoming movie coming out, right? It makes sense that they were like, they would like push her character. But there was like no X-Men at all, not even Wolverine. And he's like Marvel's Batman. So that kind of scares me in a thing where it's like, I don't think that maybe they're doing the same thing with the games too, where they're not making any games with X-Men characters in them. Don't know, this was just a teaser, but it's just incredibly weird why you don't see at least Wolverine somewhere in this trailer popping the claws. He's doing something, either him or Deadpool, So maybe this game might not have any X-Men characters in it. Because just because they was in the last game don't mean that they gotta throw them in this game. It all depends on if Marvel lets them use their characters for their game, So I guess time will tell and everything, but we'll all just have to wait and see. But anyways, that's just been my thoughts on the new Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite teaser trailer here. And I'm gonna put out a couple more videos talking about a few of the other games that dropped during the I don't know if it was Tokyo Game Show or something. They had like a little thing, going on, because I see a bunch of trailers hitting my timeline and everything. So I figured I'd talk about the games that I was interested in. And so if you guys have anything to say, let me know down in the comments below. My name is Denonu, the man with black privilege, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.